The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of my Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Yeah, I started from PBS Kids. What you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video. Every time I think back to that time of when I left the party after 40 minutes, I just can't help but think that if I were a fictional character, fandom would write me off as annoying. Hey y'all, it's Harriana and I'm back with another video. Hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Harriana and welcome to or welcome back to The Pirate Ship, also known as Harry's Pirate Ship. I am the captain, you are not my first mate. I don't got no first mate because you wanna know why? Bring your ear closer to the speaker so you can hear me clearly. No one's worthy of being the first mate. But hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Harriana. I like to make content based on nostalgia and family and children's entertainment and all the issues that I find within those spaces. Today, we are going to sit here and talk about the air quote annoying girl and why I love the annoying girl. I realize that I identify as the annoying girl because oftentimes the annoying girl is somebody that just does not have a personality that is for everyone. One of my biggest things that I always say is that I'm not for everybody. Now, before we get started, we need to go over some little housekeeping rules before we go any further because I know y'all saw that thumbnail and I know some of y'all saw me talk about this on my blog called The Black Natalie Sang Her. The link to this will be down below. More on that later, but can y'all like stop taking everything at face value? Like, this is a video that I really don't think needs to be taken at face value regardless. People are gonna do what they want to do. And I posted about just this video that I'm working on. People were like, Pinkie Pie's not annoying, Jen's not annoying, Goo's not annoying, Lisa's not annoying. I'm like, okay, if you read my blog post that I wrote about this, you would know that I personally don't think any of these characters are annoying. So today we are going to be sitting here talking about the annoying girl and how she is very, very misunderstood. Before we move any further, I just want to do some quick promo, a quick little shameless plug. I have restocked all of the My Little Pony bonnets for my shop. I restocked literally all of them. They are basically up for pre-order. The only two that are not up for pre-order right now are the newest editions, which are Applejack and Rainbow Dash. They are now on my website at harrianahook.com. I have also added other products too just as well. If you are interested, to link to that will be down below. But yeah, because I know people were asking me like, when was I going to restock them? I restocked them this weekend. Now back with today's video, we're gonna sit here and talk about the annoying girl and why she's misunderstood. Okay, just to make a note, there are two versions of this topic coming directly from me. We have the version that is on my blog, that is on my website and on my Substack, Black Natalie Sang Her, and that post specifically focuses more on my grief, like my personal grief that I have been dealing with the loss of my mother and also one of my close friends, but also just like I have lost other family members along the way within like the last 5 years of my life. So that is what that focuses on. And I do talk about my favorite characters that are considered annoying by fandom standards. I'm tired of y'all trying to get smart with me. Somebody was like, Pinkie Pie is actually very loved by the fandom. Go type in Pinkie Pie annoying and literally a whole bunch of posts come up of how people think she's irritating. I like Pinkie Pie. There's a lot of people that think she's irritating. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like that's not a thing. Like, literally, all of these characters that I am talking about today, I can remember people within fandom spaces talking about how annoying they found them. Or when watching the material that they came from, you would see that there would be people within the shows getting frustrated with them and getting irritated with them. Now, as I had mentioned the entire situation about how I left a party after like 40 minutes. That is something that I think about when it comes to things that I have done that I know a lot of people will write me off to be as annoying, or they'll write me off as like being pretentious or anything else. Because when I talk about other things that I do for fun or things that I don't necessarily like to do, I look online and I just see people literally dragging a lot of fictional characters for similar things that I have done in my life. And I noticed that like I will get called annoying for literally putting myself yourself first and like setting boundaries. And growing up, I was always like called like the annoying girl, because I remember there was something that Howleen said where she had mentioned that people refer to her as like Claudine and Claude's annoying little sister. I was called my sister's annoying little sister. And I'm gonna sit here and read to you guys a piece of that article before I go into details about the characters that I specifically chose to talk about this with, and the things that they have done in the series and how people react to them. And this is also going to be in defense video of especially Howleen, Jen, Lisa, especially because I've already defended Lisa in the past on my channel, but there's just still other things that I want to talk about with her character, and especially because that video is pretty old. I don't really talk too much about Pinkie Pie because y'all know I'm newer to My Little Pony, and my sweet girl Ragatha. I do wish the world was a better place like Lisa Simpson. I do talk a lot and get a bit loud when I'm excited, like goo. I can be highly optimistic, speak before I think, and I can get a little rough when I'm excited, like Pinkie Pie. I also realize that I need to find environments where I feel comfortable, just like she does. My uptightness turns men off, and I'm glad, leave me alone. I tend to express myself dramatically when something goes wrong, and I am incredibly cautious, like Jen. I do have people-pleasing tendency, like Ragatha, but I also want those I am in community with to be safe. Also, my kindness can rub people the wrong way, just as well. But like Howleen, I do have my selfish moments. I do admire my older sister and have to remind myself that I am fine the way I am. So after I noticed that I do have similar character traits from all of these characters that are quote annoying girls, I also sat and thought a lot about the things that I have done growing up and realized that, oh, Harriana knew who she was from a very early age. Let's read directly from this. You know that quote from Euphoria where Rue said Maddie knew who she was from a very early age? I am not much different now than I was when I was younger. I never cared to fit into a clique. I prefer to have friends with whom I can hang out with individually. I turn guys off by talking so much, and I see no issue with it. I am constantly told that I'm too loud. I don't like breaking rules. The fear of missing out barely exists to me. I care too much about the well-being and safety of others. I was the person who ruined the mood to address when something isn't right. I never liked doing things I didn't care for, and when I did, it usually backfired. I am literally a certified annoying girl. And when I was getting this discussion going on my YouTube community tab, where I was asking you guys questions like, who are some fictional characters that you feel like fandom deems annoying, or they're considered annoying by the people in the universe that they exist in? And somebody mentioned something about how I have come to the conclusion that the annoying girl isn't necessarily annoying, but she can change the mood of what's going on. And oh, I already know, I be hearing people talking shit like that in the cosplay community. I know people think I'm annoying simply because I want to address the problems that we have here in this space. But that's going to be next video. We're going to talk more about that later. So who's up first? Okay, come on, Lisa. You're the first one up. You're the first one up, Lisa. Now, for those of you guys who don't know who Lisa Simpson is, and if you don't know who Lisa Simpson is, are you really an animation fan? She was one of the most well-known fictional female characters out here, and that just has to do with the fact that The Simpsons is just super duper popular. It's literally one of the most popular animated projects in the world. You don't know her by her name? You probably seen her before because people love to use her for memes. I remember there used to be this blog that I really like on Tumblr called like Relatable Pictures of Lisa Simpson. But I mentioned in on my blog post that Lisa Simpson is literally the poster child of the annoying girl. This was the first time that I've ever seen like a girl character. So much criticism from fans on the internet, like male fans especially, other than like Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I feel like there's just enough content out here that's defending Katara, and I understand Katara too completely. So that's the main reason why I didn't pick her to talk about here. But Lisa, on the other hand, who exactly is she? She basically is the middle child of the Simpsons family. She has an older brother Bart, baby sister named Maggie, and she is seen as like, you know, the gifted one. She's the gifted one. She's the smartest one out of the family, including her mother and her father. She likes to read. She doesn't necessarily care too much about making friends. Twilight Sparkle in the first 2 episodes of My Little Pony, that's Lisa. But also one thing about Lisa is that not only does she read a lot, she's also highly intelligent, and she is interested in politics and social issues and all of those things. And she does want the world to be a better place. So for the most part, Lisa does mean well, but a lot of this criticism that comes from her character usually has to do with her interactions with her older brother Bart. One thing I never understood is how people will literally defend Bart for everything that he does, but they'll drag Lisa for every little thing that she does. Mind you, Bart and Lisa, they're siblings. Of course, they're gonna bicker. Everybody knows that if you have a sibling growing up, especially if you're close in age with them, because Bart and Lisa are probably only like 2 years apart. Me and my sister are 1 year apart, and oh, so much of it was kind of like that. You can tell that they still love and care for each other, but yeah, they did have their moments of tension. And people were talking about how they felt as though Lisa was extremely mean to Bart. Bart can be extremely mean to Lisa. Like, are we not watching the same show? And specifically when it comes to watching The Simpsons, I also think a lot of people's irritation from Lisa depends on what seasons they're watching with her. Because I know that if you watch like up to like season 2 through 10, the way they write Lisa in those Simpsons episodes is different than how they write her later on. Especially like in that era of like the 2010s episodes of The Simpsons. For some reason, I just do not be fucking with those episodes. I don't know why. They just kind of don't feel right to me. But people just always gone on and on and on about how much they don't like Lisa. They talk about how they think she's better than everybody. And yes, Lisa can act as if she is better than everybody. And that has to do with the fact that she is somebody that does love to learn. She's somebody that loves to read, and she's surrounded by people that don't like to do either of those things. She's far more advanced than pretty much everyone else in her class. But one of the major things in regards to Lisa and her character that I feel like people forget about is how old she is. Specifically how young she is. Like, she's not perfect. Of course she's gonna slip up. Of course she's gonna fuck up and make mistakes. Just like literally every other member of the Simpsons family. And not even directly within the immediate family of the ones that live in that house. Oh, their extended family too, just as well. None of them perfect. The only one of the Simpsons that's perfect is Maggie, and that's because she a baby. Like, Lisa has done some things that have got on my nerves, but then also she does learn from her mistakes. But also, I feel like people don't seem to understand that the Simpsons continuity mostly does not exist. I'd probably say only like 15% of it is canon. Like, pretty much everything that happens in these episodes, it's done, it's settled, let's move on to the next thing. I just have a question, like, why isn't Lisa allowed to make mistakes, but all the other members of the Simpsons family are too? Like, that's just what I don't get. Homer has done significantly worse things than Lisa does, yet I don't see Homer get dragged the same way Lisa does. And I've already made it very clear where I was just talking about how I'm just not the biggest fan of Homer Simpson. I don't like to watch Homer-centered episodes. But I'm just like, y'all are sitting here defending this middle-aged man for acting extremely immature all the time, but you'll literally drag his daughter for literally just making a mistake because she doesn't necessarily know better most of the time. And I don't even really say most of the time, because I do think Lisa does have a good sense of like self-awareness. She's really, really young. She's young. Okay, let's talk about Pinkie Pie. Okay, now, people were trying to go off on me because I ended up blocking this person because they was annoying me. Talking about Pinkie Pie is actually beloved by fans. I know that. I know. One of my closest friends loves Pinkie Pie. Now, who is Pinkie Pie? She is this woman that loves to party. Like, that literally is one of the major things about her character, is that she loves to party. She likes to turn up. She likes to have a good time. Pinkie Pie is young and turned. Pinkie Pie is young and turned. And I think that's where one of her major slip-ups come from, is because she's always focused on wanting to have fun but overlooks other things too. And that is like a flaw that we see with her throughout the show, but she does get better with that. Literally, when we see her introduction for the show, she literally throws a party for Twilight Sparkle without asking her. She does it like as a surprise. And we know that the intention behind Pinkie Pie We know she has good intentions, but she's not the best at reading the room sometimes. And then also Pinkie Pie is really, really loud. She likes to jump around everywhere. She literally always bouncing. She literally always boinging. But there is one episode in particular that made me see Pinkie Pie differently from the remainder of My Little Pony. And it is the episode where she realizes that she was getting on everybody's nerves. And that is one of the worst things that an air quote certified annoying girl has dealt with in their life. We realize that we irritate the shit out of people, because literally even Lisa knows she be getting on people's nerves sometimes. But in that episode, Pinkie Pie just wanted to be at numerous places at one time. She wanted to spend as much time with all of her friends as much as possible, because Pinkie Pie loves her friends. She's a lover girl, platonic. I say platonic like I don't ship Pinkie Pie with Twilight Sparkle. But anyway, but also in that episode, when she does come to the conclusion that she is annoying people, she shuts down a bit. And she's really, really sad. But later on down the line, she realizes like, hey, I know I'm very loving, I am very caring, but I know I can't always be up under everybody 24/7. So you know what, I will do a little bit better about how I go about things moving forward. And I really did appreciate that. It takes a lot of like, you know, self-awareness to, you know, admit that when you know you was wrong. Also, another thing I noticed with people not really liking Pinkie Pie is that they just feel like she has like toxic like positivity. Like they just feel like she's extremely happy and too happy sometimes, and she never wants to see the bad in situations, or when she does see the bad in situations, she overreacts and just kind of makes things worse than what they are. But overall, even with these negative traits of Pinkie Pie, she's not a bad person. Like, she's not a bad person. But I also have to take into consideration that Pinkie Pie is a party girl. She's really loud, she has a lot of energy, and she's not for everybody. All right, who's next? Goo, come on. Come on, Goo. Okay, so a lot of people were like, people think Goo is annoying. I mainly put Goo in here because while I have seen people within fandom spaces say that they think Goo is annoying, this more so just has to do with Goo in the universe of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I really appreciate Goo because this was the first time like in my life that I saw an animated black girl that was similar to me. Because I did grow up watching The Proud Family, but I didn't feel like I could identify with any of the characters in that show. Oh, Goo, that was a little too accurate. Like, she wears braids in her hair, she wears colorful clothing, she talks a lot. She has a really creative, wild imagination. She's also pretty loud. But I just came to the conclusion that the problem with Goo is that, like, while she was like a lot to handle for people, like in the beginning of when we're introduced with her character, all they really needed to do was just set boundaries with her. Because once they actually set some boundaries with Goo, that's when things improved with her. Like, nothing about her really changed, I say. Like, she still had that sweet, bubbly personality and still was pretty creative with all her thoughts. Like, she is the reason why so many of the imaginary friends are in there. I don't know. I don't really have much left to say about Goo, mainly because this one just necessarily had to do with her universe and why she had like such a hard time making friends. And it's because everybody just thought she was irritating. But when that boundary was set with her, people realized that she was a really cool girl. Like, that's one thing I've also just learned about life in general, is that sometimes your friends aren't bad friends. Sometimes you just gotta set some boundaries with them. Okay, next we have Jen from 16. I remember like growing up within like, you know, the fandom for all like those Canadian animated shows. A lot of the people did not like Jen. And one thing I have noticed about like people saying Jen is annoying, same with people saying like Twilight Sparkle is annoying and Lisa Simpson is annoying. Sometimes y'all consider somebody to be annoying because they have some damn sense. Jen, in my opinion, was my favorite within the group because she seemed to be the one that was the most reasonable. But also Jen was very bossy. Me too. Like, there's a reason why Blossom is my favorite powerful girl. She's bossy like me. She's bossy, but she was also a character that I could really understand. She was a bit of a workaholic. It's funny because you can see she would ruin the mood sometimes when she would point out something that didn't seem right. She had really, really bad experiences with guys in the show. Like, I'm thinking between her and Caitlyn, them two have like really bad experiences with guys. As I mentioned how Pinkie Pie is not for everyone, Jen is not for everybody either, because she does have like a pretty strong personality. Because when you meet Jen and you're introduced to her, she makes it very clear that she's not the type of person that you're gonna let walk all over her, and I really appreciate that. But I can relate to that. Like, I legit don't like getting into problems. I don't like getting into drama. I don't like letting people think they can little girl me. Like, Jen is just very misunderstood, and that's just not something I noticed with the fandom, but like within the series itself. And I'm telling you, if I had to live with freaking Jonesy, I would act the same way. I'm sorry. Like, sitting here and thinking about her circumstances and what she was placed in, I understand why she acted that way.
Hi, editing me here. This was something that I noticed editing the Jen section of this video. She has done things in this show that I don't like, nor do I agree with. But like Jen and many other characters that I picked to make this video on, they are young. They are not adult, and they have fuck-ups and they make mistakes. But I will say that there are certain episodes of this show I don't particularly like, because I feel like they make Jen to be a little bit too harsh. Same with how with the Simpsons, I started to understand why more people were disliking Lisa as the show went on, because certain episodes would write her to do very cruel things. But as I mentioned that Jen has done things that I don't like, nobody in that circle on 16 is like fully innocent. They all got different types of issues. But I did want to make a note of that, because I don't want this to seem like I was excusing her for her horrible actions, but it was more so like an observation that I had where she would act before she thought and ended up making really bad decisions because of that. Also, this is just an observation that I've also had, not just from the 16 writers, the Total Drama writers, all of those Canadian animated series, is that they can write their characters to be extremely cruel and do very despicable things. So I just kind of am starting to think that's the culture of Canadian animated series, because some of the stuff that was happening in 16, I was not seeing that in shows made in the United States.
But I adore her. I adore Jen. Literally my favorite character from 16 ever. Like, growing up, like within like the 16 fandom, I see how so many people just put all the other characters high up on pedestals, and then they just be dragging Jen on the side. And I'm like, next, Howleen from Monster High 13 Wishes. I did not know that a lot of Monster High fans did not like her. And mainly this just has to do with, I think, her character arc in Monster High 13 Wishes. As I mentioned, how the annoying girl is misunderstood, I'd say that Howleen was just misunderstood too, just as well. I related a lot to her growing up because I did, like I said, I struggled with the same thing. But I think so many people's frustrations with Howleen is because of her wanting to be loved and her wanting to be accepted. She ended up making really poor decisions because of that. Literally, the movie begins with her almost burning down the school by an accident because she was trying to put her name in fancy lights, and it was a fire hazard. But throughout that, we constantly see that like people around her, like, you just need to be yourself, just calm down, it's okay, girl. But we see that she does get picked on. We do see that there are girls being mean to her at the school, and she just starts to make really bad decisions because of that. But yes, I know this movie has issues with race and Orientalism. I need to get into that another time. And people were asking me, why didn't I talk about that when I be talking about Monster High 13 Wishes? Because I'm not educated on it. I am not well educated enough on Orientalism to discuss it. And that's okay. It's okay to admit that when you're not well educated on something, you don't want to talk about it yet. Like, one day I might talk about it, but I also think that that is something that a woman of a different race and background should speak of. I don't want to feel like I'm talking over those people. But like, as I mentioned, like with Lisa Simpson, people seem to forget how old Howleen is with all of this going on with her. And then also, she learned her lesson in the end. Like, I feel like she did learn her lesson in the end about how she needs to be herself and stop wanting to desperately fit in so bad, because there are people in her life that do love her and care for her. I do think Claudine could have been nicer to her sister too. Like, there's just two things that can exist at the same time. Like, she can be a bit chaotic, she can be very impulsive, and she can also be a bit selfish. But I don't necessarily think all of those things with her make her a terrible person. Like, were those things that she had done were wrong? Oh, most definitely. But also, it's obvious that the girl needed a little help. Like, it's obvious that this girl was desperately crying for help. But like, nobody's ever gonna make me hate Howling. This is the Monster High character that I relate to the most. And last but not least, the annoying woman, Ragatha. I was kind of confused for the most part. Like, people find Ragatha irritating. Okay, one thing I have just noticed with the Amazing Digital Circus is that everybody who isn't Jax isn't allowed to make mistakes. That is just something that I have learned with the fandom of this series. Jax is the only person that can fuck up. Jax is the only person that can make mistakes. And I'd say that that gotta be one of the most male-centered fandoms that I have come across recently. Like, we do find out that Ragatha did not have it the best growing up, especially because she had a really terrible relationship with her mother. But because of that does affect her interactions with other people. One thing I have noticed about Ragatha is that she's constantly trying to be the best person that she can be. And I understand that because that is something that I struggle with too just as well. But I remember that there was a time where I was just sitting there trying to be there for everybody and but I was just low-key burning myself out all the time trying to be there for everyone. And it's like within the series, Ragatha is constantly putting other people before her, but she's not sitting here and thinking like, hey, does this person need this extra help? Does this person need this extra care? Like, she overthinks a lot about her interactions with people. I am glad that Kinger and her had that talk where he let her know, like, no, I do enjoy having you here. She doesn't like slipping up. She doesn't like messing up. Even when she had that mess up with Gangle, she made it clear that she did apologize. Is Ragatha a bad person? I don't think so at all. Is she very, very flawed? Most definitely, like all the other characters that I talked about here. But I really feel like so many of her air quote annoying things that she does comes from in regards to how the fandom responds to her. They don't have much to do with Gangle, Zooble, Pomni, or even Kinger. I just feel like all of this just has to do with the way she interacts with Jax, and that solely has to do with the fact that one, she's not gonna let Jax walk all over her anymore, but two, she doesn't want him to have such a negative influence on not just Pomni, but she also doesn't want him bothering the other people in the circus, especially Gangle. Y'all should really watch my video essay called Who's Afraid of Gangle. The link to that will be down below. Also, Ragatha has every right to not like Jax. As we don't know what happened in that circus before Pomni got there, he's done very despicable things to her, including throwing her in the hot ass grease. Like, y'all do know it is dangerous to throw hot grease on somebody, right? Like, I don't know. I just feel like Ragatha is constantly being called annoying because of the way she interacts with Jax. But I'm sorry, from all I've seen about with Jax and Ragatha's interactions, are we watching the same show? Her dislike for him is justified. But as I had mentioned in the beginning of this video, I don't find any of these characters to be annoying. Do they do things sometimes that kind of irritate me a little bit? Yes, but overall, I don't find them annoying. But I do find a lot of these characters to be complex. It's like fandom either finds a female character to be boring or annoying. Like, there is barely any middle ground here. Now I'm gonna say this to close it out from my piece. I really do recommend you guys check it out if you would like to know more about how I came up with this and how me writing about these fictional characters was helping me process my grief during this time. While I have accepted that I am a certified annoying girl because I do a lot of the things that fandoms usually drag female characters for, I'm not actually annoying to people who care about me. Often when I'm talking to my friends, I ask them if they think I'm annoying them, and they tell me, if you annoyed me, I wouldn't be talking to you. I don't find any of these female characters I named annoying for the most part. I love them all. And that comes to the conclusion of that is the annoying girl and how she's misunderstood, and I just kind of wanted to get on and defend some of my favorite female characters. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, I've added new stuff to my shop. Link to that will be down below if you are interested in those things. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, night, whatever time of the day you chose to watch this video. I'm just thankful that you watched it with the ads on. Alright, thank you. Goodbye.